Hi, I'm Joni Patry, and welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I'd like to talk about who's in the news. Tom Brady, quarterback for the New England Patriots. And with the up-and-coming Super Bowl that's here to happen very soon, I wanted to take a look at Tom Brady's chart. Now, he has won 5 Super Bowls previously, and he is regarded as one of the best football players of all times. So he is 40 years old. That is unheard of. He is an old guy playing football, and he's still at the top of his game. So I wanted to analyze his chart and see where he's going and what's going to be happening for old Tom Brady and this next Super Bowl event that we have coming up here very soon. So looking at his chart, Tom Brady, he was born August 3rd, 1977, and the time that we have is 11:48 a.m. in San Mateo, California. Now with this, Tom has a Virgo ascendant, and Virgo ascendant is highly meticulous. It's somebody that wants everything in its proper order, and they are extremely disciplined, focused, disciplined, orderly, and generally very bright because it's ruled by Mercury. The planet that rules Virgo, so that rules his chart, is Mercury. And looking at his Mercury, Mercury goes to his 12th house. Now this is very interesting. It goes to his 12th house in Leo. And you know, Tom Brady is known for taking up transcendental meditation. And he even spoke about his astrological birth sign in an interview, in which he said he was a Leo, which we know better, sidereally in Vedic astrology. His sun falls back to Cancer, but his Mercury is in Virgo. And his Mercury is in Leo, but it's in his 12th house. So Mercury being in Leo, this is where the Leo qualities come out, because wherever Mercury is, what sign it's in, is how you think. And he thinks like a Leo. Leos are the ones that are dominant, that are kings, that are going to be leaders. He's never going to be a follower. And with Mercury being in his 12th house, this is the house of meditation. This is the house of pulling back, being behind the scenes, and contemplation and solitude. These are aspects of who he is. He's very serious, and it is the house of meditation. So he is very, very in tune with using his mind in a way of finding stillness and peace, and this is probably part of his success. So another thing, talking about Tom Brady, the next thing I want to talk about is looking at where his Sun and Saturn are, because they are in his 11th house. The 11th house is the house that deals with great gains, and it is an Upachaya house. Upachaya means that over time things improve and get better. So what you're going to find is with Tom Brady that he is constantly trying to improve himself. And with the Sun here, and especially Saturn there, he is always looking for how he's going to improve and how he's going to make his game better. And another thing about Sun Saturn, I might add, Sun Saturn generally will represent your relationship with your father. And this is difficult because I feel like when you have Sun Saturn together, you feel like you're always wanting to impress your father, but you always feel like you haven't done enough. Well, I hope by at this point in his life, he's felt like he's done enough to be who he has come here to be. But there's always this drive and ambition with the 11th house because it is the highest Upachaya houses, which means you're always improving over time. So the older you get, the better you get. In here we have a 40-year-old major football player. So this is very much reminiscent of the qualities of what Upachaya house, and 2 malefics there. When malefics are there, it really gets you going. It really gets you working hard. He's the kind of person that's going to say, what have I learned from my mistakes? And not let them hold him back, because he's always going to be moving forward. Now, another thing about his chart that I find very interesting is that Saturn, being in the 11th house, does aspect the first house by its 3rd full aspect, and quite tightly with the ascendant degree. His ascendant degree is at around 26 degrees, and his Saturn is at 25 degrees. So it's almost exact that this full-bodied aspect. So Saturn aspecting the ascendant gives you more focus, more discipline, more just really getting to the bottom of getting things done right. This is how it's going to be, and what can I learn from my mistakes? And always serious about doing things the proper way. So looking at his Mars. Now, Mars is the planet that I would look at in terms of sports immediately, because Mars is action. It rules sports. It rules energy. It rules courage. It rules drive. But most of all, it rules competition, competitiveness. So looking at his Mars, it's in his 9th house. This is the house of luck and blessings. It's also the house of father. So looking at Mars being in the 9th house, this is intense, and it means his father was really strict and probably pretty hard on him. And this is also explained by seeing where the Saturn, Sun are placed in the 11th house, because the Sun is the indicator of the father. Saturn being too close to the Sun will indicate issues with dad. So Mars does by its opposition aspect, it aspects the 3rd house, which is a house of competition, drive, and courage. And notice that Mars is aspecting the 3rd house, which it rules, because Scorpio is the sign on the 3rd house. And as Mars aspects the sign that it rules, it empowers that house for what it's good for, which the 3rd house is competition, courage, drive, ambition. And it is about siblings too, so you can rest assured he's probably got some contentious relationships with some of his siblings. By the way, find it very interesting, he is the 4th born of 3 older sisters. So he's the baby and he's the only boy. But Mars is aspecting Neptune in the 3rd house. I find that when Neptune is in the 3rd house, it gives people a finesse, a real quality where they have a talent. I've seen this in many athletes. So Mars aspect to Neptune, he's got a finesse. He can handle the ball. Why? Because the 3rd house rules the hands. And Neptune's there with Mars, direct aspect. So he's ultra mega coordinated. That's what that means. And Mars is also aspecting his Mercury by its 4th full aspect. So you can see that this Mercury is empowered, his mind, how he thinks, with the energy and the drive and the forcefulness of Mars. So the next planetary combination I want to look at is his Rahu Ketu, because his Rahu is almost exactly conjunct his ascendant. His Rahu's 23 degrees and his ascendant's 26 degrees. This represents a life of destiny, of fate, when Rahu's in the 1st house, because no matter what you do, the universe has a divine plan for you. No matter where you go, things may change because of this divine plan that is active throughout your life with Rahu in the 1st house on the ascendant. Now, of course, this puts Ketu in the 7th house, and that's not the best combination for marriage and relationships. And additionally, on top of that, he's got Ketu moon in the 7th. And as it goes, his first serious relationship that he was in, he ended up breaking up with her, but right before they broke up, she became pregnant. And so therefore, he has a child from his first relationship. They never married. That was an issue. That was a problem. That is where you see the Ketu moon. Now, another interesting thing about his chart that I think represents his success and the extremes in his life is that he has the Kala Sarpa Yoga. All the planets are on one side of the nodes, of the lunar nodes. So even though the moon is in the same sign with Ketu, it's still considered Kala Sarpa anytime a planet is with the nodes, but they're all on one side. And you see, Kala Sarpa means time serpent yoga. And what I find is it totally intensifies all the other yogas in the chart. And it gives for a life of major highs and major lows. But what you're going to find is when his life goes down to the lowest low, he will follow with his life coming up to the highest high after that. So this is the extremes of the ups and the downs that are relative to a Kala Sarpa Yoga in a chart, which he has. Many, many famous people have this yoga. I can name so many: Ringo Starr, Paul McCartney, Donald Trump, President Bush, so many very famous, powerful people that have sudden rises and sudden falls, but then they retrieve again, just like Sylvester Stallone did right before he put out his movie Rocky. But this is the indicators of something powerful. And remember, it makes the yogas in his chart all the more powerful. And when I look to his 10th house, here is his crowning glory. 10th house is your reputation, how you appear to the world, your success. Jupiter, Venus. That's remarkable that he has Jupiter and Venus in the 10th house. And the fact that it's in Gemini, he has a calculating mind. He can figure things out. He's very bright, very smart. You have to be smart to be able to make these plays that he has made to be so successful in his field of football. Now, notice that this Jupiter-Venus create what we call a Raja Yoga, because Venus, by the fact that it rules the 9th house, and Jupiter rules 2 angular houses, both 7 and 4, whenever you have a combination of a triconal planet together with a planet that rules the angles, or the kendras is what they're called also, then this creates Raja Yoga. So you see the triconal houses are 1, 5, and 9. The kendra houses, or what we call the angles, are 1, 4, 7, and 10. And if you bring 2 planets together, that one rules an angle and one rules a triconal, you got Raja Yoga. So Venus, ruler of the 9th, triconal. Jupiter, ruler of both the 4th and the 7th, both angles, creates a powerful Raja Yoga. No wonder he's so powerful. And on top of that, he's got the Kala Sarpa Yoga. So of course, this is like magnificent. This is his crowning glory. This is what really brought him into such great success. Now, guess what Dasha he's in this year? His Mahadasha and subcycle, which I call Bhukti, he just so happens to be in Venus, Jupiter. That's amazing. And this Dasha actually started January 21st of 2017, so last year, and it continues till September 22nd of 2019. And he won already a Super Bowl. So what is going to happen in this Super Bowl? You know, by the looks of his chart, I'm going to say probably the New England Patriots are going to win because his chart with this Dasha of Venus-Jupiter is so spectacular. And not only that, notice that transiting Jupiter in his chart. Right now, Venus is in Libra, so it is aspecting his 10th house, where both Dasha rulers are, Jupiter, Venus, and Jupiter. And when you look at the fact that Jupiter is aspecting those planets and his 10th house this whole year, all the way till next October of 2018, we have Jupiter aspecting the 10th house and the planets therein. Plus we have transiting Saturn in Sagittarius right now in his 4th house. It is aspecting the 10th house. Now they say in Vedic astrology, when you have both Saturn and Jupiter aspecting a house, it's a point of manifestation. Jupiter gives the opportunities and Saturn gives the discipline and the patience to be successful. And so by transit, he's in. And remember where Rahu and Ketu are right now. Rahu is in Capricorn. Ketu is in Capricorn. Rahu is in Cancer currently. Crossing over his sun, which is his power, who he is, his spirit, his drive. Rahu magnifies things. Rahu is on his sun, and Rahu has already crossed over his Saturn, magnifying his discipline, his focus, his drive, his spirit, who he is, his physical body. So I can say that Tom Brady, just based on his birth chart and his current Dasha, is in for another great success. So with that, I'd like to close. And if you would like to learn Vedic astrology, you can always go to my university, which is University of Vedic Astrology.com. And if you would like a transcript, a written transcript of this reading, you can go to my magazine, which is astrologicmagazine.com. And you can always go to my website to schedule a reading or learn more about me, which is galacticcenter.org. Thank you.